Hey everyone, super excited to be here with you. It's Tuesday evening, 5 p.m. and we're here to talk about the topic, how to create your miracle mornings. Now I'm sure if I was to ask you this question, you would definitely have a thought on this. What do you think is common between Tony Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, Les Brown, John Maxwell, Blair Singer, Robert Kiyosaki, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, for as long as he was alive, of course, Barack Obama, Lady Gaga? What's common between these people? One, they're highly successful people. And second, they all have an empowering morning routine. Now, I'm sure you're wondering that, what is the connection between success and a good morning routine? And I would say that one of the things that you got to do is to prime yourself up every single morning, because that's what puts you in this right, mind frame, right state to go on and take on the world. So one of the most important things you can do is actually get yourself in a prime state first thing in the morning by something called as priming. Now, how do you do that? There are various ways of doing it. But let me first, ask you a question. Why do you think that's important? I think most of us who do not have a morning routine, if you would understand, often, when we have an alarm ringing in the morning trying to wake us up, we hit the snooze button and we say things like, I'm not a morning person, I don't like getting up in the morning, I work late hours in the night, and we keep hitting the snooze button. And I have been in that space many years of my life, previous to 7 years from now. And one of the things I realized at that time is that when you are in that state first thing in the morning, you're more like reacting to your life. First thing, you're reacting to your alarm clock by pressing the snooze button, and then to every single thing that happens after that in the next 24 hours, it's more of a reaction rather than being proactive to life. And we all want to have a wonderful life, don't we? And we say that if you want a great life, what is life? It's a combination of multiple days, isn't it? So if you can focus on make each day beautiful, then you can have a beautiful life. Right? So that's what we are here to create, and that's what we are here to talk about. I think a lot of people, do some bit of morning ritual. Some people do meditation. Some people read. Very interestingly, I came across this video by Tony Robbins many years ago. I think it's about 8 or 9 years ago. And he talked about his morning ritual, and to me that was very interesting. He said that, for any human being, and of course his is about an hour, he calls it the power hour, his is an hour long, but he says for any human being, at least you can spend 10 minutes in the morning priming yourself. And if you do not have 10 minutes, you do not have a life. It's as simple as that. That's the way he puts it. He's very, very frank and blunt about it. So what he says is the first thing you can do in the morning for the first 3.5 minutes is to do a gratitude exercise where you basically, acknowledge all the good things in your life, all the good things that you have within you, all the good people in your life, and all the good things in your environment, and everybody else in your support ecosystem or your contact sphere who's supporting you to create the magical life that you want to live, right? So be grateful for them. Now, what does that do? Gratitude is a very high energy vibration. And the moment you put yourself in a high energy vibration, chances are during the day, you're going to attract more situation, more people, and more experiences at that energy vibration rather than a lower energy vibration of, fear or anger. I think two things which really stop people dead in their tracks, two emotions are fear and anger. And when you're doing a gratitude exercise, you cannot have fear. Fear and gratitude cannot exist together. Likewise, anger and gratitude cannot exist together. So if you do gratitude, you have basically taken care of fear and anger from your life on a daily basis, on a proactive basis, and started your morning by putting yourself in a peak state. And when you're in a peak state, the whole life is beautiful. Even if that challenge is thrown at you, you can handle them because you're more present. And when you're more present, you are more creative, you have more options coming out of you, and you're always in a solution mode rather than in a victim mode. So that really works. The second thing that Tony talked about in that video was 3.5 minutes focusing on the 3 major outcomes you want to create in your life over the next 6 to 8 months. And he says that, if you can sit in the morning and visualize as if those are already happening, that's already come true, that will give you the power to go out and do the necessary action that's required to make that a reality within the next 6 to 8 months. So the first 3.5 minutes is gratitude. Second 3.5 minutes is visualization of your 3 outcomes, and he calls it 3 to thrive, your 3 major outcomes that you're looking for. Number 3, he says, and that one resonated with me big time because, like him, I'm also a life coach and I love to do things to people. He says that, I ask myself this question every morning: how can I love a little bit more today? And when he says love, it's coming from the feeling of compassion. It's coming from the feeling of what can I do to make others feel better today? What can I do to, brighten somebody's day up today? What can I do to spread my light today? From that space. So he says that every single person should have at least 10 minutes being spread across in this fashion. 3.5 minutes on gratitude, 3.5 minutes on focusing on your 3 major outcomes you're trying to achieve, visualizing them, and of course the next 3.5 minutes of how I can love more, how I can give more to people, because the real joy comes from when you can achieve something and then you can share it with the world, and that's where it multiplies, right? Having said that, there are multiple other ways of doing it, and one of the most interesting books that I've been reading lately, and very interestingly, is by a guy called Hal Elrod. And Hal Elrod is someone who faced death nearly 3 times, and he was declared dead on one of the occasions as well before he came back to life. So he's had multiple near-death experiences. He was told he'll never be able to walk in life, and he's now one of the biggest podcasters, one of the biggest keynote speakers in America, and also he's written a beautiful book called Miracle Morning. And what he talks about in Miracle Morning is that when he was dealing with his, his stress, his depression, his medical condition, he actually spent that time researching and seeing what did the other people, what do these big people who are successful like Oprah Winfrey and Les and, Tony and, what do these people really do with their days in the morning? And he researched close to 500 CEOs and successful people, and he came up with a beautiful acronym called, they invest their time in life savers. And savers here stands for an acronym. And he found out 6 success habits or morning rituals of people who are highly successful. And each one of them has a combination of these 6 for sure. Not necessarily all 6, maybe 2 of these or 3 of these. And he said that they have these 6, and he decided that why not, I do all 6 for myself, and that's how he turned his life around. And if you want to write down, it's a beautiful acronym. It's SAVERS, so it stands for S, in which S stands for silence. And I think in the Indian context, we often say meditate, or come to present, or being present. Why? Because when you quiet your mind and you stay within yourself, you get grounded in your own energy. And when you do that, you can focus more. Your vision expands, your peripheral vision expands for sure, and you see more. And when you're more present to life, you can live more in every single second of your life. You can be there for people in a way that they have never seen anybody be there for them. And if you look at the statistic internationally, they say that an average person today cannot pay attention or focus on one thing more than 17 seconds. So even if you practice meditation or presence just for 2 to 3 minutes every day, you are way beyond the average, world citizen today in terms of being present. And that will go a long way in building your relationships and building your businesses, because in any situation, if you are just there, neither in the past nor in the future, you can actually live it fully, and you can accomplish a lot more. You can pay more attention to the things that need to be done in that moment. So that's number 1. Number 2, he says, which is A in Savers, is affirmations. And one of the most beautiful things he says is something that I often talk about, is when you're looking at your affirmations, don't look at it from the point of view where thoughts become things and forget about the action component of it. A lot of times we say affirmations like money is flowing easily to me. Now, in a lot of contexts, this could mean passivity. It means that I'm going to sit back and relax because money is flowing to me and I'm really not doing anything for it. Well, that's not true, because the equation goes thought becomes feelings, becomes action, becomes results. So action is very important. So it's important to affirm every day as to what kind of action you're trying to take, or what kind of action you want to take, or you intend to take, or you declare to take, and you do affirmations around that. Then he talks of we, which is basically for visualization. And as Tony also mentioned in his 3 to Thrive principle, is that, every single day, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve in the next 6 to 8 months, if you can spend 2-3 minutes visualizing as if it's already true, it's already happened, that will give you tremendous energy. It will empower you beyond your imagination to actually go out and start doing that in your daily actions, and which will obviously eventually take you to the kind of goal that you want to be at. And if you want to take examples, look at any sports personality, each one of them mentally visualize their best shots, their goals, or anything that they want to, their movements. It's like muscle memory being built in. Likewise, if you prime your mind and visualize every morning, it makes your belief stronger. You believe it's possible, it's gonna happen, and you act accordingly. Because if there's any doubt and confusion inside of you, you're not going to act as per your full potential. You're going to think that maybe this will work and maybe it won't, which means you'll take yourself to the situation in actions at only 50%, because half of it for you may work and half of it may for you, you may believe does not work. But if you visualize, you are taking 100% of you, your totality, your highest potential to the action, and therefore you'll get the kind of results you'll get, and that will build up further belief as to, what's possible is of course inevitable, and you will do more action accordingly and therefore more results. So you'll get into the cycle, right? So that's on visualization. The fourth thing that Hal Elrod talk about in Savers is exercise. And I know, I have been a culprit of that for many, many years, of not focusing on exercising. But for those of you who've been following me know that since the last 2 months now, I've been very particular that every single morning, going to the gym and starting my day with some format of exercising, and I have a coach, who helps me with that, because I believe it's always nice to work with a coach because it keeps you accountable, and it's obviously, somebody's taking care that your form is right, so you're not getting into injuries, because that can really put you behind. Also, it's a way of, looking forward to your day, like, you're going to meet someone who's positive minded, and they're going to be there, and, it's going to be a good partnership there. So exercise is very important. If you do not have the time to exercise in the morning, at least you can do rebounding for a minute. And rebounding is nothing but jumping, because when you are jumping, what's happening is your cells are getting squeezed, right? Because it's, when you're in the air for a moment, it's against gravity, you feel light, and then when you come down, it's like double impact of gravity. So the cells are being squeezed, and when the cells are being squeezed, all the toxins are being released from the body. So rebounding really helps, if just to get your blood pumping and your toxin released from the body, and you can do that if you don't have time for an extensive exercise in the morning. So that's for E. Now coming to the next R in Savers is about reading. And we're not talking about reading fiction, and we're not talking about reading newspapers, because you don't want to start your day with negativity as far as newspapers are concerned. They're full of negative news. You don't want to prime yourself with any kind of negativity. So when we say reading, we're talking about something that grows you as a person. And at this point, I'd like to quote what Jim Rohn says. He says that your success, if you're looking at creating level 10 success, it's going to depend on who you are as a person, because your success can never ever go beyond your own personal growth. So in the morning, if you can just read 5 pages of a good book, nothing more, maybe just 5 pages of a good book, a self-help book, something on leadership, something on management, something that helps you grow as a person, and you spend a little time doing that, that could go a long way in building you up as a person as well, right? So R is for reading. And the next S, which I'm sure you're wondering is what, is for scribing or journaling. And, you can journal. The gratitude, the gratitude exercise can be done as a journaling exercise. And I always say that, if you have my book, The Queen of the Comeback, we've given an extensive, gratitude exercise in that, which is, which talks about how you do your goal setting, what kind of an intention you have for the day, things you're grateful for that you can see, things you're grateful for that you can do, things you're grateful for that you can feel today. and so on and so forth. And there are multiple questions, and it hardly takes 2 to 3 minutes to answer those. But if you've done that, it puts you in an amazing energy space. Or, when we say you're in the zone, it puts you in that zone, the green zone, where you're like really creative, and you can go out and you can just rock the world, and whatever comes your way, you're able to handle. So that's Savers from Hal Elrod in his book Miracle Morning. So if you want, you can do a combination of those. As for me, I start my day with a gratitude exercise because I love that. It's so empowering. It's amazing. And then, of course, I do my exercise, and I come back and I do my reading, and I do my journaling. So these are the 4 that I do. And of course, affirmation and visualization form a part of my journaling routine. And I prefer to visualize in the night, just before sleeping. That has worked very well for me. So I do that, but I'm just sharing with you that a lot of people, in fact, I do that in the night, and I also celebrate all my wins for the day, because I think that's very effective. Every night, going back to sleep, feeling like an absolute winner, and even if you don't have anything major to celebrate, even celebrate simple things like, today's meal was really nice, or if I went out on the road, I got all green lights today, there was no traffic, and these are simple things to celebrate. And if we can focus on small things that make us happy, you're going to have a happy life, throughout your life. So it doesn't have to be something major. It can be even something small. It could be your maid turned out on time, you got a good parking space. It's the idea of staying in that positive energy. So that's a bit on morning rituals. And as I said, if you want to be successful, every single successful person in their life, has a morning ritual, and you should too. In fact, I'll share this with you that, Barack Obama once in his interviews was asked, that what does he do to prime himself up in the morning, and he said, that I wake up 2 hours before my first engagement every single day. And I'm sure you understand that when he was the president of America, he had enough on his plate, much more than any of us have. And yet he would wake up 2 hours before his first engagement, and he would spend 45 minutes in the gym, because he said, if you can give me my exercise, you can get more out of my day. Likewise with Steve Jobs, what he used to do every single day, he used to ask himself this one question: what I'm going to do today is that if today was the last day of my life, would I have liked to do that? And he said that every day I would record my answer as yes and no. And if I got too many no's, in a row, I knew that was time to change. So that everybody has a different way of doing it. A lot of people get up in the morning at 4:30 to read books. But whatever it is, if you can wake up, whatever time you wake up, if you can wake up an hour earlier and prime yourself up, you'll be amazed at how much you can live in that single day. It becomes literally like you are living 2 years in 1 year and achieving the kind of things that you can achieve. So, well, that's what I wanted to share today in terms of how to create your miracle morning. If any of you would like to ask any questions, I'll be delighted to answer. I know a lot of my loving friends and fans are here today with me, and I'm super excited that you guys joined. You took out the time to be here with me. I'm ever so grateful, and never take this lightly, because I know all of you are busy people, and the fact that you've logged in to listen to me, all I can say is I'm humbled and grateful and ever so thankful that you do that, and you keep me going and give me the energy to come back next Tuesday and share some more with you. So that's the exciting part for me every Tuesday, to meet you guys. And if any of you would like to ask any questions, now is your time. You can shoot your questions now. I'll be delighted to answer. In case you have already asked your question and I have missed seeing it, because when I'm talking, I'm never focusing on the text. I'm actually looking at you through the camera. So if I've missed it, I will love to answer them in the comment section once I'm done posting the video. All right, I have one coming from Kush, and he says, I'm too depressed to even wake up because of ongoing health issues and from missing my kids. Okay. So Kush, all I can say is that, I have a 5-minute rule, and I suffer clinical depression for 6 years, so I can completely understand where you're coming from. But all I can say is that one of the things that got me out of my depression was a 5-minute rule. And, a 5-minute rule on being depressed, or, if anything goes wrong, take 5 minutes, feel the pain, sob, cry, abuse, do whatever it feels like, and then tell yourself 3 golden words: can't be changed. And something that cannot be changed and you resist it, You create so much more negativity and so much more negative emotions just by resisting it. The key to getting out of any difficult situation is acceptance. The moment you have accepted can't be changed, now you're in solution mode. It cannot get worse than this. Let's try to make it better. And when you have a 5-minute rule, initially it'll be hard because I used to think, how can anybody do this in 5 minutes? Sometimes you need 5 weeks to cry, or sometimes 5 years to cry. But if you give yourself that time, that 5 minutes, do whatever it takes. You want to break a glass, break it, no problem. Do anything to get that emotion out and dealt with, and then tell yourself the 3 golden words: can't be changed. And no point spending energy on something that cannot be changed. Rather spend energy on something that can be controlled and can be changed, right? So you're not getting up in the morning is not going to bring your kids back. You're not getting up in the morning is going to put you in a worse health situation. So why not get up in the morning, do some basic gratitude? Isn't it nice that your children, you may be, do a basic gratitude of all the lovely things that are still around in your life, and go out and do some kind of basic walk, exercise, something, anything that you can do in your physical condition, so that you get the good hormones coming out of you, the endorphins coming out, and that'll put you in a good space and a good stage to take life forward from there. People don't give good referrals for jobs because of previous jealous bosses and failures. This has made life miserable getting a good job. Amit, honestly, I understand. Maybe that's the experience you've had. But if you come from a belief that people are like that, chances are you're going to attract more people like that. Because every single thing, every single emotion or belief that we have is an energy vibration, and if it's a negative or a lower energy vibration, it pulls our energy down as well. And when our energy is down, we attract people, situations, experiences at that energy level. So all you have to ask is, maybe you can say, this has been my experience, but what if this is not the only experience possible, and what if something else is possible too? Even if you have a doubt about this, that this is how it always is, you will go in a better energy space, and I'm sure you will get good results there. You're most welcome, Kush. I'm glad I was able to help. Awesome. Would anybody else like to ask any question? I'll be delighted to answer. Otherwise, we'll have to end the evening, and I look forward to seeing you guys next Tuesday, 5 p.m. same time, with another wonderful topic, created just for you guys. Awesome. So since nobody else is typing in, I'm going to say bye-bye to you guys, and thank you so much for logging in and being with me today, this evening, so that we could talk about miracle mornings. Thank you so much. Love you guys.